Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Let's have a conversation. Oh, yeah. Look. Yeah. Hey. Let's have a conversation. Woo. Pick up some gems, life is all you make. Go. We keep it real, we don't talk to fake. Tell them how this talk show on the net coming for all the mates. Let's have a conversation. Woo. Pick up some gems, life is all you make. Go. We keep it real, we don't talk to fake. Tell them how this talk show on the net coming for all the mates. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Let's have a conversation.
Hello, everyone. This is Michelle Biggs, CEO of My Best Everyday Coaching and Consulting, and the host of Real Conversations with Michelle. Welcome to this episode of Real Conversations. And for those of you who are new to my platform, I started this platform about 3 years ago, actually in 2020, when we were in the midst of all things race relations and COVID, the pandemic. And it started with the intent to just be a support to people in a different way, to help people go through or get through all the things that we were dealing with at that particular time. It has now grown into a much bigger platform where I talk about a variety of life topics with the goal that something that is shared, you'll be able to apply in a positive manner for yourself or in support to someone else. So tonight, the topic is, I'm going to do a career segment, kicking off the career segment, and I'm going to tap into a discussion about something that I am not an expert in, but I have some experts who are joining me, and that is about the music industry. And we're going to talk about keys to launching a successful music career. I know there are people in my audience who are aspiring artists or who are out there trying to make things happen. And I have some great people who've been working in the industry for over 30 years. And I know they have a thing or two to share with you tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up my first guest, Miss Shaila Scott. Hello, Shaila.
Hello, Soror. How are you?
I am doing great, and I am just so honored to have you and my next guest up, Mr. Thomas Lytle. Thomas.
Hello.
Hello.
What's good?
I am great, and I'm glad to have you both on because I know, first of all, I'm just blessed to have y'all in my circle because I'm like, I know some people. So I'm blessed to have you guys in my circle. But why don't we start by you telling people about yourself, how long you've been in the industry and what you're currently doing now. So Shaila, why don't you start?
Well, I just celebrated 39 years in radio. I started in Buffalo, New York at WBLK and actually got my start. I was in a contest called the Cutie Pie Contest, and one of the judges was a radio personality, and he had openings at BLK after the contest. He was like, you should try out. And I started before I graduated at Buff State. And once I graduated, I came home to WBLS. Then I spent some time at Kiss FM until they went defunct. And then I went full circle and went back to BLS and spent about another 10 years there and came to the block. That is the newest station here in New York City, which is 94.7. We play nothing but throwback. So it has been quite a journey. And along that journey, I had the pleasure of meeting both of you, I would say 40 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. My soror from Gamma Kappa, love you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have known each other for a minute. And like I said, I'm grateful to be connected with you. You're doing a lot of good things in the community too. People can read your bio.
Yeah.
We might get to it later on as well. Yes.
Please do. Mr.com is where you can go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Thomas Lytle.
Yes, ma'am. What's good?
I remember you win, but talk about what you're doing.
Easy brother of New York.
That's right.
Yeah, that's me. Fortunate enough to, like I said, to know you guys for a very long time. Buffalo State was the place to be back in the, for me, late 70s. I started Buff State in 77. Was my freshman year. And, being at that time, my freshman year, the only DJ on campus, that was kind of huge. And, that took off, and I parlayed my DJing on campus to working in Norfolk, Virginia. I wasn't as lucky as Shaila. I wish I could have started at BLS. BLS has about 1 million resumes, probably in some file cabinet somewhere. But sometimes you got to leave to hone your skills and come back. So I guess I can do a little anecdotal story right now. There was this guy that went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And at Wowie was a 50,000 watt stick. And it was on top of, I forgot what mountain, but their reach was like, they almost reached a 100-mile radius. And this guy would actually orientate his antenna. Actually, two guys did that. Orientate their antenna at school. One went to Virginia State, the other one went to UNC Greensboro. And because I was on Fridays and Saturday nights. And at that time, I was probably the only FM station back then playing rap music. You remember rap music was, no one played rap music except for a mixed show late at night. So one of the guys at the gentleman that went to Greensboro, his name was Skip Dillard. And that's how I got on BLS almost 30 years later, because I asked Skip, was there a slot for me at BLS? He goes, man, for you? Not a problem. And he gave me a slot.
Okay.
So, of course, I had to represent. So the moral of that story is never, ever, ever give up on your dreams, because you never know where life may take you.
Right.
So I did a nice 5-year run at BLS. I did 2 New Year's Eve parties on the station. So, hey, man, that's one thing off the bucket list, to be on the world's best looking sound, warm beauty, love, and sensitivity.
Small world. Skip Dillard is my boss now. He was my boss at BLS, and he's the one that took me over to the block. So small.
Yeah. Skip knows talent when he sees it. He knows the deal.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about talent scouting, and just the things that you have done. So talk a little bit about your role at VP Promotions at Island Def Jam Music Group.
Yeah, I got hired from WWI as a regional manager at the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. And my role was basically to, get my records on the radio. And again, this is my first year working at Def Jam, was 1990. And it was still very, very difficult to get rap music on the radio because at that time, rap was still kind of a fad. We played at night, whatever for the kids. But we really believed in what we did. So that was my main thing, trying to get records on the radio. And then when artists came on promotional tours, set up in my little region, radio. At that time, retail was still big. It was still selling CDs. I always try to do some kind of community event, take them by a YMCA or visit a hospital, try to get a local TV show if the artist interviews the artist was big enough, like LL Cool J. He can kind of demand some local TV, I guess a video by, hey, LL's in town, set up an in-store. So it was all promotion, just to make sure that in my area they knew that my artist had a single that was about to be released.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main thing. And then, then I got promoted to vice president. So I basically did the same thing on a national level, which was kind of a bittersweet blast because I was so happy in D.C. Let me tell you something. LOVE Washington, D.C. That man, the nation's capital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And especially, working at Def Jam, and the nightlife in D.C. was booming. I mean, booming.
Yeah.
So, and I had an expense account too. Woo.
And that speaks to the market that you need to be in if you are a musician, right? Well, I think a little bit, does it?
It now, no.
Okay.
because of the internet.
Right.
But you definitely want to be in a major market where, local radio is very, very important. And I'll give you some tips on what I was telling these kids on how to really raise up and stick out and be noticed. Um, but yeah, I worked at Def Jam 21 years. For a black executive to work at one label that long, starting at that era,
Mhm.
that was kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
And there's still some people at Def Jam now that's past my 21 years, but I hold the distinction of being the last employee that left Def Jam. I was the last man standing that was hired by Russell Simmons. So
Okay.
technically, when I left, the official Russell Simmons era was closed.
Okay.
So that was cool. And let me just also say, Michelle, that you have the honor of having
Hmm.
two Buffalo State distinguished alumnus
That's right.
on
I
your
know
show
that.
too.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so
I know that.
Emma, you know how to I had to fit that in. Where is that?
Yes, and thank
So,
you for that. That
oh, no doubt, no
yeah,
doubt.
Like I
And
said, I
that was
know I'm
such an
with. I
honor.
know I am with royalty right
yeah,
now.
No,
and that accolade for me came out of the clear blue sky.
Hmm.
I was in the office, and my assistant said, "Thomas, you got a call." And I got to remember Joanne's name. I swear I can't remember her name. And it's killing me. I got to look it up because it was definitely an honor. And she called and said, "Hey, this is the Buff State Alumnus Office, and we want to, see if you're interested to give you an invite. We've chosen you for to be the distinguished alumnus. Can you speak to the graduating class?" And I'm like, "When is the date?" And unfortunately, the date was uh, the same date because I was doing network marketing at the time, and I had a big presentation that was set up months ago, and I could not break that. I said, "Oh man, I can't do it. Is it going to be a slot next year?" He says, "Well, we'll keep you in mind, but so you pray about it."
Hmm.
And next year it came around, so I took it. And the thing about it, the following year, I actually made it 30 years since graduation. I was a distinguished alumnus of 2012, and I
Right.
graduated in '82.
mhm.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was on a 5-year plan, but I graduated.
Yeah,
That's
and so
right.
was I.
Hey,
I was
So
important.
I was on a 5-year plan too, but
yeah,
Keep
man.
hope alive. It just
yeah,
got to keep it going.
yeah,
Just got to
Yeah.
keep it going.
that should speak
Right.
volumes to some people
Perseverance.
who maybe
Exactly.
right, who may be
Perseverance is
right
it.
now in their fourth year saying, "Oh, I ain't
Yeah,
gonna."
well, that's the third cardinal for for the Distinguished Brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Uh-huh.
So you know how we go. Two
Get
Perseverance
it
brothers.
in,
is
get
key.
it in. That's right.
Perseverance is key. Perseverance is key. So I'm gonna tap your brains now with some questions that I pulled together that I think people would just want to know and just tap into your wisdom and experience. And Thomas, you kind of alluded to this initially. So, what does a successful music career look like in 2023 compared to what it may have looked like when you started your careers in broadcasting and promotion? And this question is for the two of you. So, Thomas, why don't you start?
I mean, it's very subjective. I mean, I could say it looks like Taylor Swift.
Mm.
I
And
mean,
what and
she.
say more about that.
Well, we don't want to have a political
No, we
commentary
ain't
on this.
going. Yeah, we ain't
Yeah,
going there.
because
We ain't going there, Thomas. We ain't going there. Go ahead.
yeah. No. I mean, she's great. I mean, just for
Yeah.
her spurring young kids to vote is huge. But she it really is about now notoriety. It seems like people just want to be
Hmm.
noticed. What are you going to do to stick out amongst everybody else? I think some people go real left with it
Hmm.
to the point to where it just baffles my mind. I'm like, man, why?
Hmm.
But the advent of the internet changed the game so much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, you can have a successful career and never be signed to a major label.
Yeah.
And what I mean by success is being able to earn a nice income by
Yeah.
doing gigs and everything else. Like the records I sent you by this artist King George,
Hmm.
as an example, he's not signed by an artist, but he'll
Yeah.
go to a concert, he'll draw 5, 6, 7,000 people, he'll sell 500, 600 CDs, at $15 a pop, that maybe costs him $2 to make.
Right.
You do the math.
Yeah.
Plus tickets, plus T-shirts, plus so you got a whole business going on.
Yeah.
So most of those
but
successful
how do
artists
people
do it
even
that way.
get to see him like that? Because he still had to have some kind of exposure, right? So what are they doing? What are people like him doing?
He
to
plays
get their
well.
exposure?
He did what they call the Chitlin circuit, basically.
Okay.
He's out in these small clubs and because the one thing people like that's really missing in today's music is live music.
Right.
And with these guys, and it's a perfect example. They actually play instruments, and they actually have a band. They don't use a track to do that. They use a band, and they go out. They throw their stuff in the band and get a bucket of chicken and a 6-pack of beer. Yo, let's go. And they're out there, on the weekends doing that because most people still work 9 to 5.
Right.
So, and I think that nowadays, this particular, I guess it's Generation Z, most of them don't even want to put in the work. They don't want to put in the work. They hey man, when am I going to get paid?
Yeah.
You get paid when the process tells you to get paid.
Yeah,
Right.
It comes from that easy, it being easy to attain through websites, through streaming sites, through these, just going to the store, picking up one of these.
Right.
And going on, online and making it happen. Back in the day, as far as radio is concerned, there was a day, remember, Thomas, when it was called Music Day, and all of the record labels would line up on this one particular day to meet the program director, to meet with them and play their new songs. The PD would listen to it at that very moment and decide on it. Well, let me see. I'll see if I can get it in or not, if I can add it or not this week. And he would go through a bevy of label mates, and he would pick which songs he would play or she would play on air. And then, next week, it'll be a whole new set of artists.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore. They don't have that.
So going to the radio, Emily, I just want to, and I call y'all, she's known to me as Emily, so I might slip and call her Emily. But
yeah, everybody can't do that though.
I know everybody can't do that. She's known as Shaila. I know she knows Shaila. But in terms of how people used to get their stuff heard, their music heard, right? So you used to be able to go to a radio station and get it played. And what I'm hearing you say is it's shifting now, right? Thomas, you alluded to that too, right? Going to the radio may not be the main place you're getting heard.
Oh,
right.
No.
So talk a little bit about that. What's changed in radio?
Well, they don't have music days anymore. They don't have a day set aside for labels to come in and present their new music to the program. And these artists now, they don't need that. All they need to do, like I said, is go online, push their songs online. Or, we had created an outlet, and I think it's still a great idea for people to get their music heard, and that is in these open mic. So a lot of people, like, I did the open mic at Soul Cafe in Times Square for 10 years. And through there, we saw so much talent come through and make it to get signed. Life Jennings being one of them. He was one of the artists that came through our open mic. And I think that's still a great idea for some of these kids to, but that's what they're doing. And if they can't find one, they create one.
Right.
They call it something else now, but it's nothing but an open mic, and everybody gets to come up and sing, and somebody hears them at this particular event, and then they talk to them, and either they take them another step, whether it's a concert, that's another option for some of these kids to ask if they can open up. Or I was at a concert and I saw a young lady who had a new song, and she opened up for CeCe Peniston and a diva, and got her song heard that way. So they're becoming quite creative now without having to go on the radio.
Right. Right. And it's funny you said that because now that makes sense. I know I've gone to concerts down here, and a lot of times they bring new talent.
Yeah.
Will open up before the main attraction comes
Yep.
to the stage. So that makes sense. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I guess every generation says this, but I'm so glad that I was a part of the old school generation because, especially in DC, we look forward to Record Day. That's when we got a chance to meet all the other reps, the other labels.
Yep.
Yo, you got that new Luther Vandross? I got that new LL Cool J. And you would exchange CDs. You know, you sit there and talk and chat it up. And then say, man, after everybody visits, because they had a Kiss in DC, you know, we're going to, I don't know, Cheesecake Factory, you know, grab something to eat. Yeah, so we all go there, Cheesecake Factory. You know, like I said, we all got expense accounts. So if there's, let's say, 12 of us, you know, we eat, split the bill.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and
For
have
a
a good
personality,
time.
to see somebody on Music Day like Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know you're gonna eat.
He was eating.
Yeah,
you know,
because he was trying to get on your station. Is that what it was?
Not on.
He was already
yes
on.
And no.
Okay.
Yes and no, but you know, if you hey, you know, Shaila, I get up in 5 minutes. Yo, come on down to so and so.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna buy some drinks. We're gonna eat. We're gonna, you know, socialize.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what we do. Is then hopefully Shaila go back. Hey, PD, yo, Skip, you check out that song. So you know.
That's what they were hoping.
It all kind of works.
Yeah.
But those, man, I tell you, and especially, I guess every city has their thing. But the crew that was in Washington D.C., man, we were some special people, man. I mean, I really, really loved that crew, man. We had some great times, great stories. You know,
he's reminiscing now. He's reminiscing
now.
Man.
Yeah,
he's reminiscing now.
I feel the same way about New York. I mean, New York had a special set of record family. Even to this day, you know, anything happened to any one of them, we are still, you know, we're all still rallying around them because they were family. Every week we saw these people. You know, one of my best friends, shout out to Valerie Marable, her father is a Q. And she still works, you know, in the record industry some 40-something years later. And we still try to meet at least once a month now to just keep, you know, hold on to that connection that we had that was built in the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's about, oh, you ain't got that record? Send. And just email it to somebody. Like no interaction, no relationship really.
No.
Yeah. No engagement. No relationship building, networking.
Yeah. Part of the phone is the network part of it.
Let's talk about a little bit about talent. So much technology these days can enhance a recording. How important is having raw talent in your opinion?
You asking me?
Yeah. Both of y'all. Whoever the answer.
Not as important as it used to be.
Okay.
Because now it's all about marketing and promotion, man. It's all about, especially marketing. You know, now A&R people they find their so-called talent on TikTok, who got the most clicks, who got the most likes, and you know, they signed to a so-called deal, which is record companies don't pay as much for a deal now, but you got a guy, he got one hot joint and then nothing else, and it's so single driven now that it's, you know, music is it's almost disposable. Like, okay, maybe you get a 6-week run on the station.
Yeah.
If you make power rotation, you may get 8. You know, then after that 2-month run, you start coming down, and hopefully you got people that's already got the next one in the system. If not, you know, you're out. You know, next.
Nielson.
You know,
and
so
they also look for very similar, like, Pokemon? What was the name of the artist?
Pokey Bear?
He made me listen to that. He made me listen to that the other night.
Which is nothing but it's a Clarence Carter to me, a remake of Clarence Carter. But the thing is, when something like that hits and it's super popular, they just go looking for the next Pokey Bear. instead of saying, okay, Pokey Bear, let's put him here. Let's get, this music, this, whatever this is, like you mentioned, not neo soul, geo soul, let's find something in the geo soul. No, they're looking for the next Pokey Bear. And then, until they just run that dry and wring it out dry, and then they will move on. But they just don't know how to detach, and go on to another sector and say, there's so many people out here who are talented that we don't have to look for the next Pokey Bear. Yes, he's doing great. This is a great song, but there's so many other ones out here.
Right.
But it's all corporate driven now, and that's part of the problem too.
Say more.
Corporate just wants, they look at our music like widgets. You're just a widget. Once your widget is up, then it's going to something else. So it's a shame, but again, it's kind of bittersweet. But the internet allows anybody to start their own label, start their own marketing, own promotion, and do what they do. But you're amongst millions, literally millions, that are doing the same thing. Right. So now you have to figure out, what are you going to do different from somebody else that'll at least have you stand up, and that's where you got to have a team.
Okay.
And a lot of times the artist, the artist just wants to make music. He ain't got time to be like, so you hire your mans in them, and that's a problem too. Hey man, I need you to run my label. I need you to get me a videographer, find me a PR person, find me, someone that does promotion, find me someone to get my wardrobe right, who's handling my travel, and a lot of times that's an unsung job, because the artist, he can't pay you. I mean, more than likely he can't. So now you got to do that on the strength, because that's your man's in there. But you got a job too. You may be married with kids, so it's a difficult challenge to try to elevate someone's career, especially with no funds. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, man. Like, most people have no real money to invest in what they're trying to do. But on the flip side, there are people that literally spend millions to break an artist, and artist never breaks.
Right.
It's like, so they chalk it up as a tax deduction. So it's no one's really figured out how to really make a star. It's like you may have all the attributes of one, but at the end of the day, at the same Parliament Funkadelic, let's take it to the stage, sucker. So once you hit that stage, then it shows up. But now I look at these rappers now, like, it's like they have no. Well, the ones that have it, like the Baby, the ones that have that kind of, I guess, a French term, je ne sais quoi, that just allows them to, like, boom, like, wow, he's magnetic. We like him. But on average, man, there's a bunch of young scrubs out here, man. It's just like, dude, you have like zero talent. You can't rap. What is it? And whatever it is, it's like, the audience perceives this person as being big, and they just like him or her. Like, let me stop. How about the name of an artist? I didn't want to do that. No, Lord.
Yeah, we're not gonna do.
But there's an artist out here that's got a nasty mouth, man, nasty mouth. I mean, they all got nasty mouths, but she's a female.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I'm glad I'm not in the industry. I could not, in good conscience, especially at my stage of life, take a record like that to the radio station. Can you please? I don't care if it's got not one curse in there. You know what they're saying? They're not even subtle with it no more. It's just like blah. It's all in your face. And
but it's what people want to hear. There's an audience for that, right? Obviously, there's an audience for that because they're popular. That's who So how do you what would you say in terms of just being able to pick the type of music that you want to focus on? Is there a method to the madness in terms of that, or is it just by chance, as you said, what people are just listening to?
Are you what artists should focus on?
Someone who's coming up, right? in terms of the style of music or anything like that? I mean, do you have to go with what seems to be the fad at that particular point in time, or how do you separate yourself? What are some things to do to separate yourself?
You have to stay true to yourself first. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. They get distracted by the process and people who tell them this and that, and everybody that tells them something, some kind of criticism or constructive criticism, then they start changing themselves. I think you have to figure out what your passion is and what, like, I'm sure that, who was it? King Charles? Is it King Charles? I'm sure he has a story to tell about how, he came to this point where he made a song that is amazing. People love that song.
Keep It Rolling?
Keep It Rolling, right. People love that song. But I'm sure his story was somebody probably told him, man, blues is not what we're doing anymore.
Right.
But he stayed true to himself, and here he is in 2023 singing about three lovers and keep it rolling.
But he has, again, he has, like you said, Emily, he kept true to himself.
Yes.
Put out his music, and his audience came to him and like, yo, that's what we like.
There you go.
And it turned out to be some good party music, man. We socialize. You see a live show. Actually, I know his manager that sets up his shows. We go back a long way too, and I'll give him a shout out, Ray Ramsey. And actually, he's in Raleigh. He's like, man, next time you come to Raleigh, shout me out. I'm like, yeah, definitely gonna do that. But yeah, man, I mean, and that's what it's all about. You got to find your niche audience to make something like that happen.
Thomas, when should you hire a manager? I guess you don't need a music producer per se, but you were talking about having a team, right? What does that team look like?
Well, you're gonna need someone that's gonna take off of your shoulders as an artist all the other stuff, so that allows you to focus on making your music. So you're gonna need somebody like I try to tell people, hire a manager to take care of your paperwork. Your actual company. You always got to set up a company. LLC is probably the best way to go. In my world, I tell people, especially young artists, the one thing that people always like to do is mind somebody else's business. So you got to put out there your business. The best way to do that is for you to start your own reality TV show. And they're like, how do I do that? And they overthink it. Like, dude, you see that little thing in your hand called an iPhone? It takes pictures and videos.
Yeah.
There you go. And you don't have to continue. It's like if you do 5 minutes a day in the life of Thomas Lytell, they may just see me washing dishes or washing my car, doing something menial, but I'm talking, I'm interacting with people. And once you have a set time to do that, now you're building up your audience on your social media platforms. Right. And that's how you kind of get out there, because your friend may, hey man, did you see Thomas? Yo, man, he showed a picture where he slipped and fell on his ass. It was so funny. You need to see that. Oh, word. They go see it, they laugh, and then they forward it out. And then in the meantime, you have a clever videographer or editor to edit up your shows. And a lot of times you have to be creative. There's so much, and Emily mentioned there's so much talent on HBCUs that are doing that major. They may need to do that to get credit for a project they're doing for their class. So they'll volunteer.
Yeah.
Journalism majors, that you need to write your PR for newspapers, whatever have you. Oh. Hi, Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, that's what she wants to do. Oh, let her hone her craft to help you out.
Right. But getting your name out there in a different way, so you're building up your audience.
And you need somebody to really book show. Like I said, Jay Howell is an artist that Lester Pace has. And this dude, I really admire Jay Howell because he used Instagram like nobody's business. I mean, every 5 minutes, at least every day, I see a new Jay Howell video. He ain't doing nothing, but I see him. And then all of his shows, they record all his shows and they put up a song on his shows, and he's doing these little cities here, there, everywhere. I know he ain't getting paid for all those shows, and he's been doing that for about, I want to say, a good 3 years. And then I look up one day, and on Billboard, he broke the top 40 R&B on Billboard. Like, yeah. And I had to call Lester and his wife, Lisa. You know Lisa Bledsoe? Emily?
I know
that's Jerry. Yeah, Jerry Bledsoe's daughter.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So so I said, "Yo, man, I got to give it to you. Like, this dude was on his grind.
Right.
Like, he's on his grind, and because of that, now he get paid shows. Right. But artists don't want to put the work in. They just don't want to put the work in. They think that just because their mama and grandma say they good, but they should get paid. It's like, nah, man."
Yeah. And you have some people, because I know someone, he's doing everything he can to kind of get, his music.
And I just want to say too, Michelle,
right.
you heard that, and there's still no guarantee.
Right.
Still no guarantee.
Right. That's why I think one of the main things you have to do is exercise patience when you try to get into the music industry. You have to be in it long term, and patience is not a month, and sometimes it's not a year or two. But if you're passionate about this, you're going to be about that business, and you will not get up until you have a breakthrough. But some people don't have the patience, or like Thomas said, they don't have the money to continue.
Right.
Yeah.
I was watching, because it crosses all genres. Country Wayne was talking about how he had done YouTube videos. He had 10
yes.
videos. Did you have a job? Or he didn't need one after a while, because the YouTube videos were paying his bills. And now he's getting paid.
I know. I just listened to him recently. I heard that story. What I'm taking from your feedback, though, is getting yourself out there and leveraging all things that we have right now in social media to get your platform heard, and people getting to know you is so important. And those were not things that we had in the past, right? Radio was the way to get your music heard. So Thomas, I don't know if you stepped away, because I know you were sounding a little bit
I stepped away.
Okay.
I had to find my glasses so I can see the chat room. I can't see. I'm old.
Yeah, there's people. And while the talk about the chat room, if you guys have any questions, please pose them. Put them in the chat. We have them. 2 people who, like I said, worked in this industry when I was promoting this particular podcast, this episode. Been in the industry for about 30 years. So if you have any questions, please send your comments.
Dominique got it. She says, I can't name one Taylor Swift song, but she's killing the game.
Yeah.
And and she's using her platform to do other things, and smart things. Like, it's almost like, I'll use an analogy like Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm sure they love each other, but trust me, that's a business deal. That's a business arrangement. And those two parlayed the business arrangement to billionaire status. So when Taylor Swift and I forgot his name, Kelsey, the tight end for Kansas City, boom. Do you know that after that one visit, what's his first name? Travis Kelsey, I think his name. His jersey sales went up 800%.
Yeah.
800.
Yeah.
And they said the viewership with women for the game just shot through the roof.
Right.
And women the ones that spend the money.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
but it says a lot about getting yourself out there and doing some other things, right? To your point.
Oh yeah, you gotta be able to versatile. And most artists, but I think they do it too soon. They really do it too soon. They look at music as a lost leader. So they'll say, okay, I'll go into the music, hopefully get a hit, and then I really branch off to something I want to do, but I built my audience on my music. But the key is you got to have a career somewhat. You got to have 4 or 5 successful records for them to follow you like that onto another platform.
Right.
So artists tend to jump off that particular bandwagon way too soon. If you're gonna be an artist, you got to have a couple of hits underneath your belt before you can venture off. And some people try to do that and still aren't successful.
Yeah.
So like Jay-Z, he always, man.
And Thomas, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit with us. I don't know, Emily, if you're noticing it.
No, I don't. This is better. No, yes, no, yes.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can.
Sounded good. It sounded good.
He sounded good on you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Jay always had a business acumen. Like he really didn't play around. It was mostly Dame was kind of like, I don't want to say that's kind of insulting, but it kind of gives you an idea. Dame was like the Flavor Flav per se of Chuck D and Public Enemy. He was the one that's always out front, always the one acting crazy, always the one that wanted to be seen, while Jay was in the background, cool, calm, and collected, but always thinking. And Jay got to the point where, on tour with him, because he was all business, never late. Didn't smoke.
Jay, are you talking about Jay-Z? Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
You said Jay.
Yep,
Okay.
Jay-Z. Didn't smoke. If he did, he never smoked around anybody else, so no one ever knew. Funny dude, though. Always had jokes, but, he took care of business. And, lobby call 7:30 in the morning, you better be downstairs at 7 o'clock. Because if Jay comes down at 7:15 and you ain't there, you can get fired.
Yeah,
and that's one thing about Def Jam.
Definitely having a business acumen is what I'm also getting from you guys too.
But I think that is, that was his blueprint. He figured, listen, I'm doing it with this music. That is not the end goal, but I got to do this music to get where I want to go. And back then, I remember Jay being so humble. He came to the station and he was by himself. And he was standing by a door because at KISS, we used to have a door that only the personalities or the artists went through. And he was just standing there. So when I came out the elevator, I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm waiting for somebody to let me in. I was like, you're by yourself? He's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for somebody to let me in. So I let him in. And I'm like, that's amazing that, he just, when he want to move, he wanted to move. He didn't want to wait for an entourage to get there so he could move. He was making moves. And if he had to make it by himself, he did.
Yeah, and that put a lot of people on blast because, like, when Leor hear something like that, he'd be like, "What the what?" And like, heads would start rolling, everybody scrambling, like, it's nuts. Oh, guys,
let's talk a little bit about the independent artists, because you have people like Chance the Rapper, who I heard is an independent artist. I know you have some others, Taylor Swift. Speak a little bit more about that, Thomas, if you don't mind, in terms of just.
I mean, the only thing that makes the artists independent is they don't have a major label to accelerate their project. And even I remember Redman telling me, he says, "Hey man, I'd rather have 10 gold albums than 2 platinum albums to be done." Because you want to make sure you have a loyal audience that's always following you. And when you shoot up like a meteorite, a lot of times you'll fall down like a rock. So you kind of always want to have that steady climb. And like I said, nowadays, because of the internet, in my humble opinion, that's the way to go. It may take you a little bit longer, but you're not signing excuse the French, a shitty deal that you hate, but it allows you to kind of quote unquote be in the building. And I'm like, come on, man, they're taking your name, image, and likeness like doing college football, but the label's gonna get a huge chunk of all that. So if you go on tour, they're getting that tour money. You sell merchandise, the label's getting that merchandise. Everything that you do, the label's going to get a part of it because they feel, and maybe rightfully so, that, hey, we're spending money promoting you. So we can't allow, before, the record companies were making so much money, like especially in the 90s, they didn't care about tour money. You want to? Whatever. That's small change. But now they start looking like, hey, wait a minute now. We need some of that. And, oh, we need some of this. So to me, stay independent. You got the internet. What more do you need besides
I think
people to help you work it?
Independent now. I don't even artists that used to be with labels, they're independent now because they just tired of somebody else controlling their craft, something that they work very, very hard to sharpen, and then you give it to somebody else, and then you don't see them doing what they're supposed to be doing in order to push your new record or push whatever it is you've got going on. Why not just yourself? So there's a lot of artists who used to be represented by labels who are independent now.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
What's your opinion? And this is coming to mind because I was just watching America's Got Talent last night. But you got shows like The Voice, America's Got Talent, American Idol. What's your views in terms of things like that, in terms of trying to, and everybody's not going to make it on those shows, right? But how has that changed the music industry?
It's just giving it another outlet. Like I mentioned before, locally we had open mics. They just took it and put it on a grander stage. And now, they've got everybody trying to be the next American Idol. And of course, it created a craze. But that locally, we had in New York, we had Chaz and Wilson's, where somebody could literally get up on the stage and be heard by Shaka Khan, Stevie Wonder, because they were in the audience. They just took that idea, blew it up, put it on TV, and made a gazillion. So much money off that. But not only that, we've gotten quite a few artists out of that as well. So I think it's just another platform that people now can use to become in a flash.
So let's talk about other roles, because you guys, we're talking about aspiring artists, right? People want to put their stuff out there as a performer. But what other? I see you. Don't be talking about the Deltas. They're out there. GK is representing for sure.
Thank you.
Shout out to my undergrad sorors who came through Gamma Kappa.
Yeah.
Other careers outside of radio personality and promoter. What are some other things people can do in the music? If people really have a heart for being in the music industry, what other careers are out there that they can look into?
Well, as far, I think, as radio is concerned, there are program directors, there are managers. There are a lot of people that I know that used to be in the record business. Now they're into managing artists because they have all those skills. Now they just put it under their independent hat, and they manage artists. So there's managers, there's social media managers as well, because a lot of these artists, they need,
That's what I was saying. Somebody to manage their social media platforms, man. Yeah. It's like
somebody who could just focus on that, because you can't focus on 5 minutes. You got to be posting something. You need to hire somebody that can do that for you on a regular and get your numbers up.
Right. Okay. Thomas, anything you want to add there? And
if management's probably, I guess, what everybody kind of slide into. I hate it. I tried it one time, man. I said, never again. Because when you're working for an artist, man, I did it one time. Beautiful woman that can sing. I mean, I always said that I would really want to work with real talent. I don't have time to try to make someone something they're not. And my best friend's goddaughter, her name is Melissa B. Beautiful, beautiful woman. I finally heard her music and I could not believe it. Like, everybody said, "Oh, I can sing." Yeah, she can sing. Oh, yeah, whatever. But I heard her music. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." So I signed a management deal with her, and I said, "Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to sing the national anthem." She goes, well, why? I don't want to sing that national anthem. I said, because that's the test of your voice.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sing the national anthem. So for those of you who are online, go to Melissa B. Sings the national anthem. You'll see her in front of a microphone. She has the subtlety of a Phyllis Hyman with the power of Whitney Houston.
Okay.
And I mean, when I say she killed it, like it was like I had to do a couple of takes. I said, no, singing like this. So I got a chance to hold my skills to my A&R. I'm like, okay, boom. She's did maybe about 3 or 4 Knick games, a couple of net basketball games. She did a boxing match, and that's where we had our first, I guess, headbutt because I used to tell her, I said, Melissa, whatever you do, please don't diva out on me. I'm not gonna diva out on you. I said, oh, yeah, she's gonna diva out on me. You've been doing it for so long, you know the signs. So I'm not gonna put the story, but eventually she did, and we parted ways amicably. But no hard feelings. It's the music business. That's just the way it is. But and she's doing a couple of things. She has her own company now, and she's doing a lot of things. Me, I try to get her to sing house music, and well, she always loved EDM. That was her thing. And I was telling her and whoever's listening too, sometimes you got to do things that you may not want to do to get where you are. And at that time, what's her name? Lolita Holloway, she passed. There was another house music icon, female that passed. I'm like, with the power of your voice, I'm telling you, you can take over this genre quickly.
Yeah.
I had a great producer, DJ out of Baltimore, heard her sing. Like, I got to get her on record. Like, her voice is that dynamic. Like, I got to get her on record. Little Louis Vega, heard her. Like, I needed to sing on my show. I went to Cielo when they were still open. And I'm like, Melissa, like, Louis Vega's like, I want you to come down. She didn't want to do it. I'm like, nah, you want to do this.
Right.
Well, for Louis. So, it's just.
Well, just
and I said,
off of that.
Yeah.
So
that's the point. Once you get involved and get noticed.
Right.
And then you can incorporate, because she liked all the outfits. I mean, the outfits work for house. Right. You got to establish it for it's something that for your voice will be easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Right.
But
so you hire management, don't want to take their management's advice. I'm like,
Emily.
Like the rumor has it that Regina Bell was singing the Star Spangled Banner, and that's how she got noticed by Vaughn Harper, who then took her to sing with the Manhattans. And if you remember, she had a song with Gerald Alston, and that's what all kicked it off. But I just wanted to piggyback on that to say, you may not want to do something. Somebody asked you to do the Star Spangled Banner, somebody somewhere at a school, do it. You never know in that audience who's going to hear it and take it and talk to you after the performance. But you got to be willing to do some things. Like I just wanted to piggyback on that. Do some things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
To put yourself and get it.
And the other question is, am I getting paid for this? Am I getting paid for this?
But also think about the size of the audience hearing you sing the Star Spangled Banner, right? Again, what I'm hearing you say, get in front of audiences that may not. Exactly. And what about your role? So let's, I'll end this with your roles and what you've done. Someone was looking to do something that you do. What are the qualifications to do what you're doing, Emily? Broadcasting, radio personality.
I liken it to, if you get your music played on radio, or if you can get a job as a radio personality, you better feel like you hit the lotto, because there was a time that every shift had a different personality. Now with syndication, that kills a whole lot of jobs for a great many people who would love to be radio personalities. So what I would say as far as, wanting to get into this industry is set your sights on online radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
There's Sirius, there are a whole plethora of platforms that personalities now can be heard and have their own shows, podcasts like Michelle has done, like people that are taking that route too. I'm about to be your competitor real soon. And but it will be a podcast about us now. We've gotten to a point in our lives, we've raised our children, we've retired from work, and now what? So that's what the premise of my podcast will be.
I can't wait to hear that.
But I will, I would suggest that you take advantage of these podcast opportunities and don't set your sights so much on radio, because those jobs are dwindling.
Right. Thomas, how about in record labels and things like that? Promoter, what do you need to be doing to prepare?
That's when you start praying, because man, I'm gonna tell you, it's really a tough gig, man. For me to break in and work at Def Jam was like seriously the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And just being a good person, man. People like good people. I try to tell a story quickly on when I was a mix show DJ. There was a gentleman who used to come by station maybe once a month, twice a month. Name is Wes Johnson. I don't know if you know, Emma, if you know Wes Johnson, maybe not. So he gave me some records to play. Hey, man, he always called me Tommy. And I don't like people calling me Tommy, but the way he did it was really from the, I didn't mind. Like, okay, Wes, whatever. I ain't going to fight you on that. Hey, Tommy, I need you to, give me some love on some of these records, man. And at that time, the mix show, it was my show. So the PD never told me what to play. And I still to this day, like, nah, don't tell me what to play. That's another story. So anyway, so I played his records, and the only way you knew someone was playing your records, you had to actually drive through there's no BDS back then where you can look at a paper and see, you had to drive through. So he hears records. So he gave me a record by this female called Sweet Cookie, Do You Want to Dance? I was program director at the Crosstown station at K94. So, okay, I put the record in, started at night, and about a week later, it got like top 20 phones. Now, you're in the country, so top 20 phones, maybe 3 requests a night. Hey, I want to hear that Sweet Cookie, Do You Want to Dance? Now, they could be setting me up. I have friends calling in, but that's what they do. So after 2 weeks, it got to like top 10 phones. So you're not just jerry-rigging the system to get top 10 phones. Now you're getting maybe 12, 15 calls a night for the record. So I'm like, yo, Wes, you getting top 10 phones. They said, oh, man, we need to do a track date. So we had a club called the Big Apple in Norfolk, Virginia. We did a track date. It was Sweet Cookie, Wes, David Sherbo, his lawyer, and 2 dancers. One of the dancers was a substitute. The other dancer got sick, what have you, and they needed somebody to dance, so last minute she came down. So what I always did when artists came through, I made little plaques for them. Hey, K94, thanks you for the Big Apple track date. Nothing fancy, but just say thank you. So it just so happened that the 2 dancers, that was the first time they ever got any kind of award, like anything. They were like, oh my God, thank you. So I'll make a story short. Fast forward, I'm at the radio station. Of course, you got haters. They took me off the air, but they wanted to fire me, which if you haven't been fired, you haven't been in the business long enough. So they wanted to fire me, but the general manager loved me. Because again, I'm a black man, college educated. Man, let me tell you, back then, I don't know about now, but that degree, saved my ass a few times. Trust me. So he's like, no, we can't, we're not going to get rid of you. You'll be out of the music, but put you in the promotion department. I didn't want to be in the promotion department, but hey, I got to eat. So I'm sitting there, man, wondering like, yo, I can't do this, man. This is crazy. And then my phone rings, right? Oh man, sometimes I get emotional because it's crazy. I need to write a book. So it was Tracy Hamlin. Tracy Hamlin was one of the dancers that was substituted at this track date. Now, this track date happened maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So she picks up the phone and calls me. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? She go, I go fine. Says, well, listen, I never forgot that plaque you gave me. That made my whole. I've never gotten an award like that in my life.
Right.
But I'm here to tell you that I'm about to resign as a regional manager at Def Jam Records. I haven't told Wes yet. I'm calling you first to let you know that give me 5 minutes and then you call Wes and tell him the job is open. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious? He said, yeah, why are you resigning? She says, well, my dream came true and I'm now the lead singer for this band called Pieces of a Dream.
Wow. Wow.
I'm like, and you remembered me? She
Yeah.
goes, yes, I
Yeah.
remembered you.
Oh, yeah.
Give me 5 minutes and then call Wes. That was the longest 5 minutes in the history of mankind. I pick up the phone. I call Wes. Hey, Tommy, how you doing? Hey, man, it's a job, there's a job open at DMV, man. Come on, Wes, it's my turn. And, in the music business, how the did you know? Come on, man. He said, you got a car? And at that time I said, yeah, Wes, you see my car. I had a 1988 Toyota Corolla SR5.
Mm-hmm.
And it was silence on the phone for about 15 seconds. I won't use a word he said at the beginning, but we black, so you know what word that was.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you hired. Bam.
Yeah.
And that started my career at Def Jam Records.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, rap music was still kind of. And the very first record that I worked was LL Cool J. Mama Said Knock You Out. So that's why I'm kind of skipping around. When I saw LL here in Charlotte, man, he was like so glad to see. It was crazy. Like, yo, Lytel, what's up? I'm like, yo, man. You start talking about all the things that, He says, man, you the first rep man that ever took me to Red Lobster. I'm like, Red Lobster. So we did a promotion.
But it proves you being nice to people,
No, but Red Lobster, you don't think an artist, a platinum artist, like LL to a Red Lobster. But I was like, yo, L, when he did, L, but look, these are your fans.
Yeah.
This is what they do. They'll go to a foo-foo shishi restaurant and feel all out of place and not comfortable with Red Lobster, man. We're glad. Yeah, man. So anyway, so Tracy, yeah, man. She's still doing great. I didn't see her until she came to the jazz club here. And I saw I said, wow, Tracy's coming. So I had to go see the show. So I didn't tell I was in the audience. And I'm sitting there about maybe 2 tables from the stage. And she did something where she wanted people to, hey, if you from so-and-so, stand up. So I stood up and she's singing and she was, Lytel? Right in the middle of a set. So I was with a date at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And after the show, man, I gave her a hug and cried like a baby. I said, yo, I've never really thanked you because that one decision, changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. So the moral of that story to everyone that's listening, man, is, it just pays to be nice to people.
That's what I was going to
say. Even if they're assholes, it just pays to be
Hal
nice.
Jackson used to have a saying, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And I never forgot.
Yes.
He used to say that at the end of his show.
Yeah, man.
And it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right.
Right. That costs you nothing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Really
like, for who's online? Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, Melissa knows Tracy? Okay, yeah. Ask Tracy, Thomas Lytel. I'm telling you, that's crazy.
He's going down memory lane. He's having a moment here. Go ahead, Thomas.
Because it's amazing how, again, like that one phone call Like put me in the presence of people like, Mariah Carey, Lionel Richie. And I mean, talking to them like I'm talking to you guys and where they were in life. Jay, I don't know if you guys remember, Jay-Z did like a 10-city tour in 5 days. We were releasing the album. Oh God, I can't think of the album. But he did like a 10-city tour. The only way you can do that is private. So I'm flying private with Jay, Beyonce, Tata. That was his main man. And we're flying all over the world. I mean, sipping champagne and nuts. Him, Lionel Richie. Lionel's an alpha. And what's my man? The morning show in Dallas. I'm thinking my mind's going a mile a minute. Syndicated. Tom Joyner.
Yeah.
He's a bruh. And a whole bunch of Tuskegee at the same time. Man, when they got together, the snaps was unbelievable. Those two were really, really funny. And Lionel Richie had we were flying somewhere, and he goes, "Hey Thomas, check my passport. I need to write a book, man. I swear
you should."
So
people can help you with that.
He hands me his passport, and I'm thumbing through the passport. I'm like, Lionel, this must be a new passport. He goes, "No, I've had that passport like 4 years now." I said, "Yeah, but it's supposed to be new. Ain't no stamps in it. What kind of passport is this?" So he's looking at me like, "Okay, wait a minute." And then I said, "Ooh, you don't go through customs when you fly international?" He goes, "Nah." Every country that he goes to, when the prime minister or president find out he's coming, they call the promoter and be like, "No, we're going to pick him up."
Okay.
And they just pick him up and zoom him. Like everywhere, like crazy. You got to look at a 60-minute story with Lionel. Lionel, I would dare say, living, he's probably now, since the passing of Michael Jackson, probably the biggest pop star on the planet.
Yeah.
When the Palestine and Israel were really fighting this crazy war, and 60 Minutes they covered the war. The one thing they found out that both sides had in common was Lionel Richie. And he would have an interpreter and they go around and says, who's your favorite artist? Back then it's different. They look at artists different back then. Or back there. And it was like they say Lionel Richie. Can't speak a word of English, but will sing once, twice, 3 times a lady in English. Like when you got that kind of juice and you're around that kind of people, crazy. Mariah Carey used to send me a gift every birthday. Gucci, Louis, because what happens is she knows that during Christmas time, when all the heavy hitters drop at the same time, it's all promotion. The Lightell's going to look out for me. It's crazy.
Pays to be nice to people, Thomas, is what you're saying. Always.
Yeah, always. I don't know. I'm just running my mouth. But I tell you.
We're taking your feedback in.
Yeah,
Shaila, you may have to get him on your podcast in terms of.
No doubt. I'll do that. Not a problem. But guys, anyone, man, that's interested in this music business, like you got to have a good sense of humility. You got to have a great work ethic, and you got to know that even if you never make it, I'll end on this one. I was working with somebody for a minute, and it's a 35-year-old guy trying to break into the rap game. I'm like, dude, I think your window is closed. However, if you have a protege that's 15, you can pour into a protege and avoid all the missteps that you made and bring somebody behind you that can maybe get further than where you are, because you won't allow them to make the same mistakes you did. Right. And then if they blow up, boom, you can live vicariously through him and still get all the accolades and everything that you need. And then once he makes it big, he may put you on and give you a 16 on one of his records.
Yeah, but helping somebody else along, right? Leveraging your skill set.
Lisa said, write that book. Yeah.
Get that book on.
She heard me saying too. Yes, it's nice to be important, but also think out the box too. I want people to stop thinking like if they do something different, that I know I had this conversation many a times with my daughter, who now is doing a podcast as well on the Issa Rae platform. But she was always afraid to step out on faith and think out the box. And one day she just said, I'm leaving hot. She had no job. And she said, I just have some ideas of how I could make it on social media. And she stepped out on faith and stepped out the box and did what she wanted to do, regardless of what people were telling her that that's not the norm. Because you know how we thought, you know, our parents had us thinking, you can't quit a job without having enough.
Absolutely.
You know, but she was saying, Mommy, you told me about how you stood outside of a woman's house waiting for her to come out so you can give her your tape to go to BLS. You told me how you went to Kiss FM and gave the program director a gift. He thought it was a gift, but it was actually your audition tape. So why wouldn't
that was a gift?
Yeah, Vinnie Brown, right?
Yeah.
You know Vinnie Brown. He, sweetheart, love him to death. He hired me at Kiss, but it was Vaughn that called me, and I said, Vaughn, you know, I was at BLS for quite some time, and I didn't think Kiss would take me because, you know, back then people signed, you know, they filled out diaries. If they heard your name and they associated with BLS would get the credit. So he said, don't worry about that. Go over there and make Vinnie Brown want you. So I went to Macy's and I had them gift wrap my audition tape.
That was clever.
So because, you know, when you work with these program directors too, they have a big old box of cassette tapes sitting there and they just get them every day and dump them in the box. So what can I do to make this man not take my tape and throw it in the big box?
Right.
So I wrapped it up and he called me and he said, you know, I don't have a position open, but because you went to this great length, I'm going to find a position for you, because I thought, I was like, it's not my birthday. He said when he came back from lunch, it was sitting on his desk and he opened it, and thank God for thinking out of the box, because I just didn't want to end up in the big box. So
how do you set yourself apart? But it speaks to what you were saying earlier. How do you make sure that you stand out, right? Amongst the hundreds of people, thousands of people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing.
Well, a lot of times I tell people, especially with artists, man, go to the station and volunteer, man. Ask somebody like, hey, man, you guys are doing a remote. I want to come there and do crowd control. Or, you know, after remote, I want to kind of clean up the area so, you know, you can leave the area clean. You know, just be around, hang around the station.
Right.
That's how it used to be. Now people don't even come to work though. There's nobody at the station.
Right. Because you can do this remote.
You know,
right?
That's crazy to me.
There ain't nobody there.
Thomas, you showing
Nobody's at the station,
everybody can do
man.
it remote.
Yeah.
And when I went by K97.5 maybe 2 years ago, and I walk up, I said, I'm in town. Let me just go by the station and kind of say hi to everybody. You know, and the DJs are in the back, so they really don't see you. The door's locked? What's the door locked? And then I call the warm line. I'm like, yo, Brian, you know, what's up? Oh, you outside? Yeah. So where's everybody? Man, don't nobody come on the station no more.
Yeah.
Like, what? You say, yo, all the salespeople, they do their sales meeting through Zoom. You know, they at home, and ain't nobody here. I'm like, damn.
It's a new day. It's a new day.
Right.
But listen, y'all, on that note, anything we haven't talked
about. Let me say this real quick to Shaila. Yo, your daughter stepped out in faith like that because she knew she had a great parental backup.
Thank you.
So she knows, and that's a testament to you and raising a beautiful young woman, because by her having that faith that, hey, I know that, my mom may let me scrape my knee, but I know she got my back. So
and
that's
that was all I could say, Bootsy, when she pulled me in the studio and she said, Mom, I'm quitting today. And I knew she didn't have a job and I didn't know what she was going to do. And I said, well, whatever you do, I'm here. you know, you got somewhere to go. If it don't work out, and if it does work out, you still got somewhere to go. And you know, now she has a show called Scotty and Sylvia Show. It's on the Issa Rae
I've
platform.
seen that. I've seen that.
RAEVIO, and it's the top 10 podcasts on Apple this month. So,
that's what? That's hot.
Yes, she's top 3 on Essence in the country. So it speaks
to leveraging other platforms to get yourself out there.
Take advantage of those platforms.
Yeah. Well, I love y'all. This has been a great conversation. Like I said, I've stepped into a space that's a little different for me in terms of just music. But what I like to do is to help people kind of find their way and navigating, especially, you know, careers are my space from a coaching standpoint. But having you guys who work in the industry and be able to talk about it, to hearing from people who have been in the industry, right? And you guys have dropped some nuggets out there, which I know will be helpful to someone out there who is wanting to make it in this space, right? Aspiring artists. So I appreciate y'all. I'm going to put you in my green room so I can close out. So just wait a minute.
Just say thank you, Michelle, though, for creating this platform.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
We would still be looking for a platform that would deal with, because there's people who have children who are trying to get into the music business.
Yes.
So you don't know who you may have helped today. So I
thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. One of the things that, you know, when I first started 3 years ago, I was nervous as heck. I didn't know what this platform would do, but I am amazed at the followership and how the platform has blessed other people. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys, because I know you've taken of your time to be with me tonight. But that's what we do. BACN, Buffalo Alumni College Network. We support each other, right? So I appreciate y'all. I'm going to put you in the green room.
Just make sure you hire a real DJ next time.
Oh, Lord. Look, let me put him in the green room. I'm putting him in the green room right now. But anyway, y'all, I hope that there's something that was shared. You'll be able to apply in your own aspiration of wanting to become an artist, if you are such a person who's trying to do just that, or in support of someone else. Please share this episode with them. As you guys have heard during my promotion of this career segment, I do have some other topics I'm going to be talking about next month. The topic will be entrepreneurship. So if you are someone who's aspiring to become an entrepreneur, you don't want to miss that episode. And then I also have an episode I'm working on for November, December timeframe around networking. And as you heard tonight, although we weren't specifically talking about networking in length, being able to connect with people and meet people is very important when you're trying to move in your career. So that said, have a great night, everybody, and stay tuned for the next episode. And I will put out the date in another week. Okay? Take care.
Bye.